This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining us for today's show. In today's episode, I will be joined by Eric Raby from CLAAS. We'll be talking about ways you can use technology and equipment to help overcome some of those labor shortages. We'll also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the closing markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined by Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Curt, what did we see take place in the grains today?
Well, some stability. We're hanging in there for the week, man. We've seen the trade come in, buy corn, sell beans, buy wheat, sell beans, and here today, we actually saw beans hold in there, and these January's back above $13. So we'll take it as we go. Weekly export sales report strong. We sold 50.7 million bushels of corn and 55.8 million bushels of beans. So demand's a little better than what they've been letting on. So that's cool. Saw the daily sales, the unknown destination, 121,000 tons. Of course, that's China. So we'll continue to monitor that as we go. The significance of the bean sales is we need to get them on the books and get them shipped out before the spring when the boats start going to the southern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, basically, we're seeing that northern Brazil, they need a couple inches a week, but they're only receiving 1-2 inches on 30-40% coverage. So they're going to be a stress test on their crop this year if they don't giddy up here and see more of that monsoonal flow across their countryside there. Conum came in and lowered the Brazilian bean production by about 2 million metric tons, 160.2 versus 162.4. USDA's 163, I believe. Corn, it lowered it at 500,000 metric tons down to 118. And we'll get a little bit of an update tomorrow morning at 11 on the South American production numbers. That'll be the biggest number to watch, is what they do with those crops there. Trade expects to see the South American crop come down in Brazil, 2 to 3 million metric tons, corn down 1. Argentina, of course, they're going to be a lot better than a year ago, but they're expected to see some stable numbers tomorrow as far as corn and beans go on their estimates. We've got the U.S. numbers. December, they're not going to move yield around. Demand side, that could be unchanged, but within the demand side, they can come in and raise bean exports or lower bean exports and raise crush. I think one will probably offset the other. Then two, on the corn side of the equation, maybe move feed demand around, but yet maybe lower exports a little lower than ethanol too. So don't see a big change in the domestic numbers. When we see the changes, that's going to be in January, particularly after we see what the January grain stocks report shows. That's our first true benchmark on how much we have in inventory on farm, off farm. And that kind of gauges to demand side. And then we can kind of speculate whether they over or underestimated this past year's crop for the most part. Wheat-wise, man, it's been a bottle rocket this last week. Every day we've seen, just about every day we've seen some type of Chinese wheat buying. They bought over 1 million metric tons of U.S. wheat, just unheard of. And so I don't know if it'll show up on this report, probably after the first year. The wheat exports are already up there pretty good, so they're going to have to bump up wheat exports, particularly soft red winter wheat. we've had over 1 billion bushel wheat ending stocks for a long time. Now we're in the 600 million bushel wheat ending stocks. So we expect that number to tighten up a little bit. +2 when we see wheat prices go a little higher. It kind of pushes wheat feed demand out of the picture there and kind of helps corn in a sense. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we'll be a lot smarter, know what we should have done. Otherwise, technically not too bad. March corn futures ran up to that resistance area, this 493. If we push through 493, 496, hopefully we can crack a $5. Been waiting for this seasonal rally here for the last 3 months, so we're ready for it. January beans had a little hook reversal. The upside today here, they've been negative, and they were able to make a new low, close a little higher. These January beans, we stay above 13, we get a little positive help tomorrow fundamentally, and run back up to 13.5. And of course, wheat stalled out yesterday, but today we were able to hang in there pretty good for the most part. So tomorrow's Friday. We'll see what the monthly supply demand report shows.
So as we await that report, like Curt said, a lot to learn tomorrow in the USDA's latest WASDE report. Curt, let's switch over to the other side of the ag marketplace with the livestock complex. Has not been pretty there in the cattle sector recently. Was it any better here today?
Well, not much. Nobody wants to talk livestock. It's just been crazy. I mean, a lot of bullish enthusiasm there a month, 2 months ago, and all of a sudden, February cattle's $34 off the high every day. It seems like cash is down $1, $2, $3. So we're just continuing to see the bloodbath. Fats finished a little lower. Hogs, the defers, they were, a little lower here. I think beet demand's a little better than they're letting on. We're just going through some technical washout selling. I think we're backing off as we kind of trying to find some support here. Weekly export sales report, cattle, it was disaster, down 98% on that. Hog weekly export sales report came in at 25.9. So South Korea, Mexico, Japan continues to be buyers. So the export sector's fairly good. On the hogs, February hogs was this $66 level on the lean index there. That was the low we had here last week. But we're cheap enough, man. If you got an extra freezer, I'd be putting a little extra in there.
Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net, our guest here today. Curt, thank you so much for the analysis as always. What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
You can go to agmarket.net and click on Intel. That's where our research information is. But two, we're having this big seminar in Nashville again this year in February, and you might want to take a peek at that, boo. They got some pretty good speakers at it. So if you like Nashville and want to get out of town here, come down there in February, be more happy to see you. Or else you give us a call here at 1-800-779-1515.
Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net, our guest here today. Curt, thank you for the time as always. Have a great rest of your day.
Very good. Take care.
That was Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net with our closing market analysis. And it is time now to take a look at the closing numbers. And those closing numbers can be found on our website under the market page at iowaagnet.com.
March corn up 3 3/4 at $4.88 even. January soybeans up 16 1/4 at $13.11 3/4. January soybean meal down $1.70 at $4.0680. January soybean oil up $1.79 at $51.13. Chicago wheat up 8 3/4 at $6.42 1/4. Minneapolis wheat up 6 3/4 at $7.37 1/4. Kansas City hard red wheat up 11 1/2 at $6.67 1/2. March oats down 10 1/2 at $3.61 1/2. On the Merc, December live cattle down $1.10 at $162.35. January feeder cattle up 12 cents at $210.27. February lean hogs down $1.52 at $67.77. February pork cutout unchanged at $81.25. Class 3 milk down 7 cents at $16.26.
That wraps up our closing market coverage here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Eric Raby with CLAAS. We'll talk about overcoming some labor shortage issues through the use of technology.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. In today's show, I'm joined by Eric Raby of CLAAS.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm joined today by Eric Raby from CLAAS. Eric, what is your role within the CLAAS organization?
Well, thanks for having us, Mark. I currently am looking after all of North and South America for all the commercial operations, so keeps me busy and keeps me on both sides of the equator.
And Eric, you must be doing a good job because it does feel like the CLAAS footprint just continues to grow. Am I right on that?
Well, that's been one of our aims, and obviously we're known for our product, but we want to bring some other solutions to bear as well, and we'll talk just a little bit about that, but really making sure that the ownership experience is one that not only customers are used to, but actually where can we exceed their expectations.
We know that across the board, labor and labor shortages in agriculture are a problem. How can we overcome that through the use of technology?
Well, I think technology is certainly one of the important things that we're talking about all across the board in agriculture, but I think it's important for us to realize that technology just for technology's sake might not be the best solution. So what we're trying to do and what we've been able to do is to integrate that technology so it's actually usable. I'll give you an example. So on our combine harvesters, we have autonomy inherent in the machine that changes the settings on the fly and all the adaptation to the crop without the intervention of the operator. So what that means is that you can maybe hire a less skilled driver and we'll turn them into an operator with the technology. So that kind of if you will, addresses that labor shortage. The other one is when we look at after-sales support, and that's extremely important for us, both on parts and service, is how can we get the parts and service to the farm and not have the farm have to come to a central location. So again, saving time because a farmer's labor is as important as his helper's labor. We want to keep them on the farm operating.
And Eric, maybe I'm jumping ahead of the ball here, but I know that CLAAS Farm Point is a big part of that when you talk about bringing the dealership to the farmer. And I had a chance to talk with Patricio Frangella at CLAAS about that, and it is a very interesting concept. Could you explain it for our audience that maybe doesn't realize what it's capable of?
Sure. We looked at two areas specifically in Kentucky and Indiana where we didn't have coverage and said, hey, is this an opportunity for us to maybe look at a different model? And back to those points I just mentioned, how can we use the technology to get the service solution and also the parts solution to the farm, because nothing is more frustrating to a farmer than to have to stop operations, go to a dealership, look for the part. They don't have the part. They have to order the part, charge extra for the freight, and the farmer has to come back again. Why not put that responsibility on us, because we have control of the parts supply, and we will get that to the farm directly.
And you even take it one step further, don't you, where the tractor, the piece of equipment, whatever it may be, the sensors tell you at the CLAAS location what went wrong and what part is needed and how it can be fixed.
Absolutely. We use remote service and onboard diagnostics. So not only can we see when a failure occurs, in many cases we can anticipate a failure before it happens. And we will reach out directly via text or other communication mode as determined by the customer, a phone call, and say we need you to either slow down the operation or stop the operation. We've already dispatched the parts and the service, and we'll be out there to fix it before it becomes a bigger problem.
And Eric, has that been as successful as you had hoped in that Kentucky and Indiana area? And is there plans for expansion to maybe even a state like Iowa?
Even more successful than we could have imagined. There's a lot of things that we learn, and that's okay. It's okay to fail, and we do, but fail fast and learn from it and then adapt. And certainly our I would say preferred way to go to market is through third-party dealers. They have a connection to the community, and that's always good. But there are a number of underserved areas where CLAAS Farm Point, whether it's owned by us or could be owned by a third-party dealer, but utilizing the technology and the remote parts and service capability is going to be certainly something we look at in the future.
And Eric, going back to the technology side of things, just from the 30,000-foot view, I know there's probably some areas where this already occurs, but do you think someday we're going to have the ability to have self-driving grain carts, for example, going right alongside the combine that would essentially help a lot when it comes to a labor shortage situation?
Absolutely. That's one nemesis of most combine operators is finding a good grain cart operator, or finding one, period.
Or finding one that will listen.
Exactly. And that's one of the things, too, that we're looking at. In fact, I was just in Germany yesterday at the Agritechnica show, and we got an award for our new autonomous Xerion tractor which really addresses exactly what you said when it comes to grain cart. Being alongside the combine without an operator, we still have some things that we need to do, not only from our standpoint on the technology, but we're closer to that than we would be in some instances of regulation for safety or whatever being understood, and us being able to provide really a good, seamless solution for that.
Eric, for our growers in Iowa who are hearing this conversation, are interested to learn more, how can they do so?
As always, two ways. You can go to CLAAS.com, and we have a plethora of information out there that people can look at all of our products, and also where our dealer locations are. But also at farm shows that are coming up this winter and next spring. We'll be at all of those, and please stop by and say hello to us.
And is there anything else you'd like to let our audience back in Iowa know about when it comes to the hard work that CLAAS is doing and trying to continue that expansion here in the Americas?
Well, I think one of the things, again, is we are looking at it from the after-sales support standpoint. Obviously, new machinery sales are important to us, but we feel like if we can really focus our efforts on taking care of the customer from the after-sales standpoint, then that sale part becomes a lot less of a task for us.
Eric Raby with CLAAS, our guest here today at NAFB Convention 2023, 80th Convention, the milestone. Eric, thanks for taking time to visit with us here today, and have a great rest of the show.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you to Eric Raby with CLAAS for that interview. It is time now for a check of the ag weather outlook. Well, it would be tough to find a better two-day stretch in the month of December from what we're having here today and looking at the forecast for tomorrow. It is a very mild day around the state of Iowa today, lots of sunshine. And in fact, I think it's just one of those days that makes you want to be outside if you have to be stuck inside, even in December. That's a little bit hard to believe. And as we turn our attention to tomorrow, we will have a little bit more increasing cloud cover, but the temperature is still going to be pretty comfortable to us here in the final month of the year. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's in store for the next 24 hours.
As you can see from the National Weather Service, clear skies, sunny and breezy today. High temperatures expected 54 to 63. Mostly clear skies tonight, low temperatures 35 to 43. And for tomorrow, partly sunny with increasing clouds on Friday. High temperature range expected 52 to 56. And now taking a look at our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Cherokee, partly sunny and 52. Shenandoah, partly sunny and 56. Des Moines, increasing clouds, partly sunny and 56. Albia, partly sunny and 56. Waterloo, partly sunny and 55. Clinton, partly sunny and 56.
For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's going to bring us to the end of the Ag Weather Outlook. That also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can find all of our video content on YouTube. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe. Click on the notification icon as well, as that will let you know whenever we have any new videos available. Also, you can follow us on social media on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And don't forget our free twice daily market podcasts, which are found on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.